You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juan.
I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are... Road Break! And as we promised a little later, we had a little technical difficulties, but we're right here to do, we go live to enjoy with every single one of you, talk about a little bit of this week, like the title says right there beautifully. He says, this week in professional wrestling. So before we start, of course, thank you so very much for the support. Jean-Paul and Legend Killer Ryan Whitman, they were all right there watching with us. So they were all like, they did Smackdown review. So we're going to be starting with that, guys, like talking about a little bit of Retribution, who the guys might be, who the ones that like we're thinking like, like we have a few names that right there that we're going to throw. But, we're going to be talking about every single thing like this. So how are we doing, Jean-Paul?
Good, Saturday evening, relaxing, chilling. Got my twisted tea right here, so ready to talk about the news. And like you say, Ryan, shout out to him. Legit review for SmackDown Live. Go check that out after watching us here if you haven't seen that already. And Retribution, they were a faction that, like I said, I'm not sure what to think about them. At first, when they came on Raw, I was like, all right, whatever. Then SmackDown, I'm like, I don't want to hate them right away, but we got to see who they are. That's, to me, the final. Yeah. But we do have some names, some rumors.
Oh, yeah, so we're going to start with that, but before, like I said, Patricio, Pato, hola, ¿cómo estás? Gracias
Pato.
por el apoyo. Yeah, Pato, yeah.
Sí, Pato.
Yeah, Pato, yeah. Hola, Pato, ¿cómo estás? Gracias por el apoyo siempre. Toskino also, thank you so very much for the support. So, Retribution, Jean-Paul. Is a staple that is invading Monday Night Raw and also SmackDown. So let's start with that, Jean-Paul. Yeah,
exactly.
So like you said in the review, like they look really tiny though. The guys look really tiny. They look really short. So what's going on with that, Jean-Paul? Show me some names out there.
Some names people said, because there was one thing that stood out. There was a female in the group, because as we'll get into, one of the females in the crowd was getting thrown around, and obviously they're not going to have a male superstar do that, but we're going to get into intergender wrestling a little bit later on in the show.
Yes.
So obviously there's a female in the group, and a lot of people have been saying Chelsea Green. That would be legit because, hey, she got called up, and it's like, oh, she's going to be legit, and then, matches on main event and done. So maybe she's pissed off. She joins this Rebel group. And another name that I've been hearing and that I think would be perfect fit, but he has to be the ringleader of this all. And it can't be that guy who sounded like he was at a high school who was yelling in the camera last night on SmackDown. And it has to be Tommaso Ciampa.
Tommaso Ciampa, that will be... I think that will be a new thing for him. It will be something that really different. And if he is, like you said, we mentioned this in a NXT review, 3 weeks ago or something, that he was a little pissed off. He was
because he's like, I have nothing to do.
There's nothing to do. So if it is Tommaso Ciampa, I think it's cool. But he said many weeks ago or months ago, he said, I will never go to the main roster.
Well, maybe they told him, they could have said, dude, do you see how the stories are going in NXT? We have no room for you. Either you do this or you do nothing. And maybe he thought, hey, I'll do this. Because this could always end up that this group could get beaten or they run its course and then he goes back to NXT.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that can always happen. This could just be like a mini vacation on the main roster. But if that's the case, it would be legit. Some other people said Dijakovic. But I still think he's involved in the Keith Lee storyline a little bit. I don't think he's out of the woods there yet. And also, none of the guys were as tall as him, so that's already out the window.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody leaving Last Storm sent a tweet, not too long ago. He said that they were 5 feet, 5'06" or 5'6".
Yeah.
Which is a lot taller than me, because I'm 5'3", so already that they're taller than me, so I don't, I feel really offended by that. But, but they said that there might be a lot of cruiserweights, a lot of guys from 205 Live. They say, like you said, Chelsea Green for the girls. They said another, Vanessa Byrne. Remember?
Okay. Yeah, Vanessa Byrne, yeah.
So they move her to the main roster, but they haven't been able to use her. So they say it might be 2 girls, and then maybe the other 3 guys or so. So also they say it might be Ricochet. It might be the high flyer Ricochet. That
I don't know. But with that, he was still kind of Mustafa Ali just came back on Monday Night Raw, and him he's been hanging out with Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, and they're kind of oh, we're legit. So I was thinking they were going to show up on, which I still think this is the case, they're going to show up on the Raw Underground. and they're going to kind of fight down there against, try to take down the Hurt Business for, taking over Raw Underground. So I don't know Ricochet, but I mean, anything's possible. Though, to be honest, I don't think WWE really even knows.
Well, it's like you said, there's a lot of things that I've heard from WWE lately is pretty much that they're doing things as they go.
Yep.
They said that, for example, the Raw Underground, it was something that just came out like this. Like that, and it's now it's hey, maybe we should do this. So, quote, we quote from our Raw Break sources, they're trying to do things, and if they stick, they stick. So, I mean, now that you bring that up, Jean-Paul, what are your thoughts on Raw Underground? We already heard your thoughts on the Monday Night Raw review that's in the channel, by the way, so please check that out. But tell me, do you think it's something that is gonna stick around, or just 2-week thing? And
no, I don't think 2 weeks. I don't think they're gonna just drop it and act like it never existed, even if it did flop. I think it's all right for right now. I think people still have enough intrigue. This upcoming Monday is definitely a make or break because it needs to go up. If it stays the same or goes down, people are just gonna hate it. But I think for right now it's good. But I think as soon as you run its course and the Hurt Business is kicked out of there, I don't see it sticking around. Because it's just a lot of no-name and enhancement talent guys just get beat up by main roster guys. But then these main roster guys also have feuds on regular Raw. So it's I
really think that it's a good idea. I mean, it's kind of doing WWE a little bit with mixed martial arts, kind of what UFC do.
Do you want to know what I would love to see? I'm sorry to cut you off, but this just came to me. The ideas on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown just come to them. But what would be cool if somehow R-Truth and Tozawa got chased down there and they took that 24/7 title and they smashed it like the hardcore title, and then they made that the Raw Underground title.
Well, going along those things, because see, you always book stuff. They said that a lot of people are proposing, hey, maybe we should have a Raw Underground title. That's one idea that McMahon hasn't confirmed, neither has denied. So that's one thing.
And I just like my idea because then it would get rid of the 24/7 championship.
Well, that's a great idea because it will kill something absolutely terrible. It will be something that is not even needed, and it actually will give an opportunities for people to be legit, to have some kind of to represent this kind of brand or this.
And then who could fight on Raw Underground, and who I also said should be a part of Retribution? That one 7-foot tall guy who was with the Ninjas.
Well, he could be the one. Although they have this guy from India, also the guy that was fighting in the beginning, he was killing everybody. So it could be good. Also, Liv Morgan, Selena, also Ruby Riott. They've said Aaliyah. They've expressed their desire to be part of Raw Underground. But if they're gonna have a division for the girls, so I think that will be even really cool. And you know why? Because that would be kind of going to the Ronda Rousey's way. Hey, let's have our own version of the UFC. Let's see how it goes. Or
if they do bring Ronda back, that would be the perfect way to pop Raw Underground. She could just show up and just start beating everybody up.
It will either beat or they fighting and then she just shows up and just starts watching.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. So, I think that is a good idea for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Pato is saying share the beer so we can pay more attention. Share the beer. So, do one. Yeah. That's right. So I mean, I think that that helped out a little bit of Raw to have a better rating. Do I think that is a great idea that is going to stick around? I don't think so. But I mean, having Shane O'Mac, another thing with Shane O'Mac, they said that he's not just going to be a one-time deal that he's going to show up. Shane McMahon is actually going to stay for the long run, all the way to next WrestleMania.
I feel like he's the host of Raw Underground, so as long as Raw Underground has a segment, he'll be on the show.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. And supposedly they have plans for him. So they're gonna probably just keep hyping the stuff.
It'll be him versus MVP at WrestleMania.
Oh well, that will be even that will be even more bad. But you know what I mean. But I want to say hi also to Mark Hunter. Mark Hunter is watching us, so thank you so very much for that. So Jean-Paul, let's switch gears. Like I said, we have a little bit of Retribution. We have a little bit of Raw Underground. Our thoughts, Jean-Paul. Let's start talking about something that Pato wanted us to really focus on, and that is Rey Mysterio, the contract with Rey Mysterio. Supposedly he's really close in renewing his contract with the WWE. Dominic has a pretty big influence on this situation. Supposedly he asked for 5-year deal. They said no, mijo. Mijo, no. Like, chill out. No. It's pandemic. Maybe we can give you a 3-year deal, but we'll give you more money. So your thought, Jean Paul, because Jean Paul, let me just finish 1 second. I'm sorry. AEW offered as much money as WWE did. Same amount of money. So let me know.
See, he's going to choose WWE because in Rey Mysterio's eyes, and I believe like in his eyes, his heart, his mind, whatever, he feels that WWE has treated him legit. When he left, like a couple years ago and did his indie thing, I feel like that was all him just, hey, this is something I want to do. I want to wrestle in Japan. I want to wrestle all over here, do this stuff, Lucha Underground, it's legit. But then he went back to WWE. Why? Because he knows that place will always pay him legit. They'll put him in a prominent role, and now he knows they're going to take care of his kid. AEW, they might not take care of Dominic. And if if Dominic goes over there, he could just get lost in the shuffle, be wrestling on AEW Dark every night. Or if Dominic stays with WWE and he goes to AEW, they could just job Dominic out and treat him like shit. So he's like, hey, let me do the best of the best, and I'm going to stay here with WWE because they're going to treat me legit, and they're going to treat my son legit because, look, he has a match against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Yeah. Not anybody wrestles Seth Rollins
I think that's like the biggest thing that, like, for example, I think that they're doing that, WWE will never, or like AEW will never be able to do is, like, make sure that, like, he's, like, having really profile matches. And like you said, first match for Dominic, Seth freaking Rollins. Like, how can you go bigger than that?
Yeah, and who did Rollins go against? Guys like at SummerSlam? Oh, like Finn Balor. Who it was? Lesnar, I believe, was one of them. Like big names. Not like he goes against. Oh yeah, he went against like jobber guy number 3. No.
Oh yeah, no. Like Rey Mysterio, like he was actually good, and and I think that he could be pretty legit for like what they're trying to do with him. So let's go with the match.
What would you do with him in AEW? What would you?
What do you think that like you could do with like him in AEW? Like
you could feud, but see, they don't have a babyface Lucha because you could easily put him and Mysterio together if they did, and then the two of them could go against the Lucha Bros.
Oh yeah.
You have dream matches out the wazoo. You can do Omega versus Mysterio if that hasn't been done. You can do Cody, Hangman, any of those guys. I wouldn't really want to see Moxley or Jericho. We've seen I'm good with that. But even singles against Penta, Phoenix. There's tons of guys on the Raw. Pac is another one. Tons of guys. But are they going to use him in a legit role, or is he going to wrestle once for the big pop? Oh, it's Rey Mysterio Jr. And then done. And then okay.
It's true, Jean Paul. I agree with you, but like, tell me your thoughts about like Dominic. In his first match going against Rollins. Is he ready for that, Jean Paul?
I think it's legit. Like we said, they're writing the show as they want. They could be the go-home show for Monday Night Raw, and Buddy Murphy could kick the shit out of Dominic, and then it's like, oh, he's hurt, and then Rey Mysterio's like, oh, we'll do a tag match, and then they do a tag match if they don't think he's ready.
I really like when he did the 619. I think he did a dive. Remember that? That was cool. I was really digging that. He seems good.
Oh, what I see of him in there, don't get me. Rollins is legit, and I think he could carry either one of us to a 3-star match if he really tried. So with Dominic, when I see him, like you said, when Dominic hits moves, and when he was beating down Murphy and Rollins on Raw and showed that intensity, to me in ring he looks legit. So I think this match will be good. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah, like I really think that like it's gonna be like extremely great match. Though the only thing that I have against Dominic is the boy jump.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Rollins is like, oh, I'm the man in that room inside, and I'm gonna beat you. And then you hear, oh, I'm Rey Mysterio. Yeah. I'm gonna beat you.
Yeah, he doesn't. He needs that fire. You know what I mean? Like he needs to get slapped in the face. Like he needs that. He's just trying to be like serious. I feel, but be that like when you're really calm and it sounds like you're gonna explode at any moment. Serious, where he just needs to explode. That's what we want. We want to hear like that fire from him, and hopefully leading up to this match at SummerSlam, hopefully that's the case.
Well, like you said, I hope that like what they do is like. Rollins, I think he'll be able to carry him. I think that like that's gonna be how like the main thing is gonna do that. But I feel that if they're able to have him like hit the good spots or like like 619, like the like the frog splash, things like that. I think that he's gonna be able to be okay. I think that like you said, for example, I remember you said that he can put a mask on, or like be like, okay, mijo, it's done. Let's go back. So like I think that like that could be, that could be really cool, and I will be really happy to see that.
Oh yeah. Now the only thing is it's hard to book because I mean, okay, Rollins, he came off that big win, the eye for an eye match. Then does he lose to Dominic?
Oh yeah, like that's the thing. Like he needs.
It's like, I mean, are you gonna have Dominic lose in his first match? Which I mean, hey, he'd be okay, and obviously he can be a fuck finish. You can have somebody get involved. Rey Mysterio could come out, and Buddy Murphy could be about to chop his head off, and then Dominic's like, oh no, don't do it. So anything can really happen, but that's why the match is so exciting too.
Yeah, absolutely, Jean Paul, and I think that like it's good. To me, it's too soon. Yes, I do feel that it's a little too soon to see like Dominic like having a high profile match. We haven't even seen him
I would like to see him have one match on Monday Night Raw, but see, maybe that would kill the pop because everybody wants to see that first match, and if the match at SummerSlam is his second or third match, it might be like, who cares about somebody's second or third match?
Oh
maybe
yeah,
that's why they're doing it.
Oh, absolutely. Like I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I really feel that like it's pretty much saying, hey, Ray, don't leave. Don't leave.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, stay with us. Well, don't be bullshit. Just be our friend and then just stay with us, and that's why they're doing it. But I think that it seems like SummerSlam is going to be pretty interesting. I read also another report that SummerSlam is going to be live, and also NXT Takeover is going to be live. So they're trying really to have all these things live now. They're trying to really to go back to like the regular, schedule.
Well, the one thing I will say is AEW's been live for a while, so I don't know why they can't be live as well.
Oh yeah, it is true. It is true. So like again, family, thank you so very much to everybody that is watching. You guys have it right here. Road Break on Facebook. You have OG Road Break, for on Twitter. You have the original Road Break on Instagram, and also right here, of course, Facebook, and the original Road Break on YouTube. So Jean Paul,
now subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Help us out.
There it is.
Help us out to subscribe. Also comment here. Let us know what you guys think about all of this. Please help us out. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear what you guys have to say. Jean Paul, let's start now to a topic that is like pretty interesting because we cover both shows. So both shows always like give us like good moments, really bad moments. Sometimes we're like really excited when we talk about the one show. The other show we're like really pissed off. So like tell me about this thing that I'm hearing about AEW and NXT, that WWE is actually upset that AEW is winning every single week.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, they're pissed that they, what is it, 85 weeks or 80-some weeks? Or not 80, I don't remember how many weeks it is. Maybe 60-some. Whatever it's been, they've been beating them, it's pretty much since they started, besides a handful of weeks here and there. So that's kind of, I guess concerning to them. But, I mean, I still think NXT overall is the better show, but I think AEW does a lot more to pop with nostalgia name value. They have Jericho all the time, and Jericho is a household name versus who's a household name on NXT.
That's the thing.
People know Triple H and they know Shawn Michaels, but they work backstage. You know what I mean? Like the wrestling fans know Adam Cole and Keith Lee and everyone else, Finn Balor, Gargano, but a lot of people who aren't hardcore wrestling fans, they don't know who that is. And then you got we're gonna, they, like I said, they spoiled Eric Bischoff was going to be on the show, and that was, I think, one of their highest shows at 900-some thousand.
Oh yeah. So, no, you're right. Absolutely agree, Jean Paul. But let me read a little bit of like the report that we heard, and then we can elaborate a little more. So pretty much it says it is noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that although WWE doesn't want to admit it, there is a big desire within the company to win on the Wednesday Night Wars. Although nobody will say it, there is a lot of unhappiness about losing in the ratings every week. The unhappiness shouldn't be losing as much as the complete inability to draw those under 50. NXT has always had writers, but there were people who were on the main roster writing team who will help also write NXT. WWE now has 5 exclusive writers on the NXT brand. They are doing everything that they can do to generate interest. They also need to focus on making the 18 and 49 demographic happy because AEW regularly beats them in that section of the viewership. So Jean Paul, elaborate for me. In my thing, I think that a lot of people that hate WWE will deviate to AEW. Why? Because they just want to do that because it's what they do.
Yeah, like you said, people, they hate, so they'll just boycott everything. And if they have to choose, like we said, we keep it real on here. Like we said, some of the fans, they're marks and stuff. They just everything AEW does, they tune in. Now we watch it because we have the channel. But I said, a few times on here, I'll say it again. If it was just me, just being a fan of wrestling, I would watch NXT. And I would just read the results from AEW unless they announced something to me that looked more legit. Then I would watch it on, live TV. But I wouldn't watch it. But, they have their diehard fans. And, they do everything to appeal, I feel, to that demographic.
Oh, yeah. No, I really agree with you. I feel that, a lot of people don't know how to, take AEW and NXT for what there is. But like you said, for example, if they used to love WWE, and now they hate it, right away they go to AEW and they use that to trash WWE, thinking that is the better choice, but I don't really think so. I really think that AEW had a lot of opportunities. The way that they presented themselves the first few weeks was really good, but then kind of they were what do we do next? And rather to keep creating their own brand, they went to follow through the WWE ideas, the WWE umbrella. And like you said, celebrities, kind of losing Michael Nakazawa with the baby oil, things like that. Kenny not being presented kind of legit, kind of going in a second or third guy in the roster. And like you said, Cody eliminating big guys. The same thing with Jon Moxley. So, I think that was the big thing with AEW. And now, tell me a little bit of this, Jean Paul. For example, see backstage heat because of Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara. He was pretty much, he bossed him open 10
Well, I mean, everybody at AEW is way too sensitive. We'll get into the Young Bucks. They deactivated their Twitter months ago because people didn't like them, calling them short and not legit wrestlers. And they're like, oh, don't yell at us. And then now Brandi Rhodes deactivated her Twitter. Everyone back there is too sensitive. People get hurt in wrestling. If you're going to say, hey, throw a chair at my face, you got to expect the worst.
Yes.
He got cut up. It was an accident. Sammy Guevara didn't do it on purpose. There wasn't no malicious intent. I'm sure he wants to learn everything he can from Matt Hardy. I'm sure he respects him. It was an accident. Hey, accidents happen. I don't think there should be any heat. Whoever is the one, exuding the heat onto Sammy Guevara needs to get their fucking reality checked.
Well, yeah, I agree. For example, and I think that, although it was an accident, it was something good because I did enjoy it. That part from the segment was the best part for me.
Oh, everybody popped when he was laying on the table and he was like, "Oh, it's done," and he had the color and he was all bleeding. Everybody was legit.
Exactly, and John Paul, I don't want to make you think that I'm insensitive or I just enjoy blood, but it's just
No, I know. To me, it made it more legit. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So I really think that that's how it's gonna be. Jean Paul, they need to really get their acts together and. WWE getting writers, it means that they're really sensitive also. We said that the ones are sensitive.
Oh yeah, but this is the one thing, and we always joke that Triple H watches and shit, but I just want to say that I feel NXT that it's this is the tortoise and the hare. And you see my shirt here, I love the Ninja Turtle, so I'm gonna go with the tortoise.
Let me see the shirt. Let me see the shirt.
Let
me see the shirt, Jean Paul. I'm sorry. There it is.
There we go. So they're NXT is the turtles. They're going slow and steady. I feel AEW, they're just burning through everything. Oh, yeah, we got Vicky Guerrero now. Oh, it's legit. We signed her full time. Well, eventually people will get sick of seeing her. That won't be exciting anymore. Oh, yeah, we put all our women's stuff on a pay-per-view thing. And it's oh, well, no one's going to want to pay for that. Are you kidding me? Oh, we have Eric Bischoff. Well, now you blew that surprise. And eventually they're going to just run through all their surprises and then they're just going to, fade out. And then NXT is going to just keep on, moving at their pace and then they'll eventually pass AEW.
Yeah, I think that in the long run, I feel that if you are a real a wrestling fan, I feel that you're going to stay with NXT. I mean, do I think that AEW is going to stick around? Maybe. I'm not completely sure. I wouldn't been able to tell you, yeah, Jean Paul, they're going to stick around or they're not going to stick around. But I think that for what it is, I think that AEW has room to improve. If they improve, it will be better. But if they choose not to, then they're just gonna like just be regular.
Yeah, but to answer what you were saying about the NXT with the writers, I don't get it. I mean, unless, especially if these are Raw and SmackDown writers, then like, oh, this is gonna be awful. But with Triple H and his crew, they always write good stories. I don't know what you would change. Like I said, if is this Pat McAfee thing kind of supposed to like, oh, he's a celebrity like, Mike Tyson or somebody else, or like you're gonna try to bring him in because Pat McAfee doesn't have that kind of and like he's not as big as Tyson. So I don't know what this is. If this is part of that, and if this is part of the new writing, then I'm not a fan of it.
Oh yeah, no. Like yeah, exactly. Like you said, I think that like if that's the beginning of it, I don't want to see the end.
Exactly.
That's how simple it is. It's like I don't really think that it's gonna be something good because they just don't know how to portray people. And I mean, bringing celebrities, like you said, I think that was the worst part for me. I did not like at all. I just hated it. I just hated it from top to bottom, and I don't wanna see that ever again. I was just too upset because, like you said, Pat McAfee, what is he doing? What is he doing for the brand? What is he doing for anybody? I don't want to see like what Pat McAfee has to do. So, like Jean-Paul, now let's switch gears. Let's go to Emergence. Emergence from Impact. Impact is going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to be a really good pay-per-view. It's going to be contested in 2 weeks. It's going to be the 18th and the 25th.
Yeah, they're doing like the Great American Bash kind of type deal.
Yep, they're going that route. They're going like they're making it like pretty much that. They're gonna of course they gotta follow the steps of like AEW, WWE, but they're gonna have like a really great match. They're gonna have a rematch for the Knockouts Championship, and that is gonna be voila. It's gonna be the Virtuosa Diana Purrazzo going against like the girl that like loves to have their stuff in OnlyFans, and that's what she loves, and like Miss Jordan Grace. So like Jean-Paul, like what are you thinking about this match? And I think, on my behalf, I can say that like I'm really looking forward to this because the match that they had, it was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, the first match they had, I mean, unless they already knew that this rematch was coming and they are saving the best for this, I think it'll be hard for them to outdo the first match because that was probably the best match, of Slammiversary, and it was, it was so legit, and I guess they still do the rematch thing here on TNA. They're like, oh, because the North is going against the Motor City Machine Guns again, so it's like, okay, but I still think this match will be legit. I'm looking forward to it, but I think Deanna's gonna retain. I don't see her like losing again, because then what would that do for her momentum? Coming in, winning it, and then losing it again?
You just don't want to do that, yeah. But look, I think that like you said, like Deanna has to like retain, but like this match is gonna be good. I think that like these girls are like really impulsing, like boosting like the Impact as a brand, and also like the women's division or the Knockouts division. I think that they're trying to do, they're trying to really compete with NXT. I think that like they have the same talent and they're as good as like they are. So like I have a lot of faith in Jordan Grace, despite like her choices outside of the ring, like choices I'm not gonna touch on that. But like Deanna, like and her, like they have a good chemistry. I really enjoy the rivalry, so why not do that?
Oh yeah.
So now, Jean-Paul, I want to take you back because this is live. This is how Robert does. It's absolutely live. I'm going to read you a report that just came out 2 minutes ago. And I want Jean-Paul to elaborate. 2 minutes ago. See, that's how we do it in Robert, That's how we do it. So we're going to go back to the Wednesday Night Wars because people are still loving it. Thank you so very much for everybody that is watching. So let's go back. Boom. And the report says this, Jean-Paul. The Wrestling Observer reports that there's wrestlers and directives in WWE that are very unhappy with the NXT results because the results that they're obtaining in the Wednesday Night Wars because they're losing every single week. So the Wrestling News reports that like the main wigs in WWE are evaluating as an alternative put down or like take down some of the wrestlers from Raw and SmackDown to try to boost the ratings every single week.
What they did before when they had Rollins and Becky and Charlotte and all them.
Yeah. So I mean that is this more of the same? I don't think it's a good idea to do that. I don't really see why they will do that because to me to see like you said Rollins and everything, I don't want to see them. Focus on your product, make it better, make it enticing. That's all you need.
I mean, like they did say on SmackDown, it's like there's going to be a battle royal and it's 3 brands for anybody to challenge. Bayley at SummerSlam and. That could maybe have Bayley showing up on NXT then if an NXT woman wins that match, which, I mean, that would be cool. But I don't know, like if Emergence is made up of a lot of NXT people, then maybe that would cause some Raw and SmackDown people to show up then to fight, or not Emergence, what are they? What's the group for SmackDown?
Retribution.
Yeah, Retribution. Yeah, there's too many damn names, and Retribution doesn't... Oh, but anyway, yeah, for them, maybe they're from NXT, and then people go to, fight them. I don't really know, but it's, I don't think it'll work. It didn't really work when they sent Rollins and them down, so...
I don't really think it's a good idea to do that, because it's just, you don't need to do that. You just don't. You just don't, because, like I said, you focus on the guys that are your brand. Because also, if you put in guys from Raw and SmackDown, what the hell are you trying to say about your own brand? Yeah. You're just saying, hey, we suck, and because we suck, we gotta get guys from the other, from the other places just to make sure that from, Raw and SmackDown are main shows, and then for our guys to, how do you make them feel? To the guys from NXT, how you make them feel, Ever Rice, how you make them feel to Bronson Reed, Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta do better. They gotta do better marketing. I never see commercials for NXT. I rarely see shit like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. This match, this is legit. Do more advertising for NXT as well.
Oh yeah, they should definitely do that. They should definitely do that. So Jean-Paul switch gives a little bit about Impact. Like I said, there was this report, and see, this report was extremely legit. I'm gonna read it a little bit because Egg loves it, and it's something about it it's never been done before, and it should be something that people should see it. And there's Livo. Livo is right here, so show the tea and everything. So show the beer, Jean-Paul. Livo! Yeah, that's for you. Yeah, he's always there. He's always there for us. So Jean-Paul, let me read this, but let's go with the magic of television, or the magic of the service that we use. Voila, boom. Okay, yeah. We're just going to see right there. Yeah. So Jean-Paul, it says that the North against the Revival. What do you think about this? There was a tease. They were saying that they might be doing some kind of a match. They were saying that the North, Ethan Page and Alexander, they were challenging FTR for a match. So what do you think? The membership, the directors of Impact, Scott D'Amore, that's the vice president. He said, hey, you know what? For me, the match can happen anytime you guys want it. You have my blessing. Let's do it. The Revival against the North.
It's really cool, and it would have been really cool storyline-wise if the Revival wanted to sign their contract with AEW 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Then it would have been legit, because they were just wrestling on there, and they're like, oh, they're not under AEW contract. Then they could have showed up on TNA, had the match, okay, legit, go back over there. Because, see, I don't see AEW working with TNA. Because I think if they're going to work with anybody, they're going to try to get a deal with New Japan.
I mean, but don't you think that it would be a good idea?
Oh, it would be legit. I'd love to see it, but I don't. But if it does happen, if it does happen, I think it'll be a one shot. I think they'll do the match and then done, or maybe do a special pay per view, Eddie Edwards versus Jericho or Kenny Omega or John Moxley or whoever. I
mean, they were asking Jericho, and Jericho said he's gonna try to do whatever he can to make that happen. So and Mr. Livo is saying, "What's up, Twisted Tea?" That's to you and. Flavor Flap 1. I think it's a good for inter-promotion. Maybe help both companies out for more publicity. I think so.
Yeah.
Why not, hey, we both don't like WWE. How about we both of us, take WWE. The matches that they can have, absolutely great. Moose going against, hey, let's say John Moxley. Guys, like you said, the Motor City Machine Gun.
But the only problem is if AEW is kind of fronting all this money, are we going to see all the AEW guys go over? Because then that's bullshit. Yeah. Then what would TNA get out of it? They would be exposed to a lot more audience, maybe, but all that audience would see them as losers.
I think that if you do that, you got to do it half and half, though. Don't you think? For example,
definitely.
For example, the return of LAX. Instead of hey, we're proud and powerful. No, we're LAX. Legit. Boom.
Yeah.
Get that. Or and you could easily grab Brian Cage. Hey, one more time, and then hey, for one night only, he's back. Stuff like that. I think that could be really good. But even Jericho, like I said, Jericho said, I'm gonna do my best to make sure that they do that. And Scott D'Amore said, you name the place, and it's done. So I think that the North and FTR will put a classic tag team wrestling match.
Oh, it would be legit.
I think that it will be really good for everybody. So it's a good stuff.
And that's the one thing that I think why AEW keeps winning in the ratings is like NXT writes, good wrestling shows, and that's all they do. But AEW writes really good television and gives fans like these dream crazy matches, even if they don't make sense storyline wise. They'll just give them to you.
Oh yeah, and like you said, like they always like are doing their best to make sure that like everybody gets those dream matches. I mean, like there's a lot of reports, like for example, and they were going to do this with the magic of television. Tom Live was saying maybe do like 1 or 2 night pay-per-view, company versus company, champs versus champs. See, that stuff that it will be unheard of, unprecedented. Why not? Right, Jean-Paul?
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, for example, Eddie Edwards against Moxley. And, champ versus champ. And, you can have, like, maybe, like, the guys that, like, challenging in their own companies kind of, like, try to fuck the match up. And that would be cool. Things like that. But we're going to talk about, like, next week on TNT AEW Dynamite is going to be Cody Rhodes defending against, boom, Scorpio Sky. So, Jean-Paul, what do you think of this match? I think that, of course, match quality, I think, is going to be amazing. And you can go the way, I get it all the way. Is my guy? No, it's not my guy. The theme song is badass, but that's all I think about that. But, I mean, Cody's going to retain anyhow.
I think this is the first match, though, that he's in danger of losing, because they're really high on Scorpio Sky. I mean, not that really anything they do has consistency in AEW, but they were talks of pushing him as a singles guy. They did those vignettes for him, kind of copying the Keith Lee vignettes, and then he just fell off the face of the earth and, wasn't doing anything for how many weeks. But now he just randomly is like, yeah, give me this match. So, I mean, like I said, this could be one if they want to pull the Isaiah Swerve Scott. This is where they could do it.
Oh, yeah, no, I really think that, like, I mean, I know something, though, Jean-Paul, and I know that, like, you're going to pop for this because that's your guy, but, like, Matt Cardona is supposed to, like, be challenging Cody in the episode. I think it's going to be the 18th, or, like, the 19th. I think that's when he's supposed to be challenging for the TNT Championship. So maybe he might win it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be legit. I was thinking something that Cody would lose it to somebody else, and because AEW likes just having 1,000 tag teams, they would just take Cody and Matt and put them in a tag team and be like, okay, this is a tag team of 2 singles guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
if Cardona wins it, though, that would be legit, but I mean, he's just they just signed so many people and they just dropped in there. He's just like floating around. He doesn't really have a feud or anything. And I wouldn't want to see him do an open challenge too. It's like, really, is this everybody doing open challenges?
Well, Eddie Edwards is doing
and well, I'm going to call out everybody because this is what I think of open challenges is, our booking team is too lazy and too stupid to think of a good wrestling program, so you'll just wrestle a different guy every week.
Yeah. No, yeah. And also, like, you go for Sonny Kiss. You go for, like, guys that don't really mean anything. So, you're right. I mean, I don't really like the fact that, like, you just got to resource to those things to kind of create, like, to kind of have something to book. I mean, I'd rather have a good promo. I'd rather have, like, a teaser of like, a championship match. I do believe that they do championship matches constantly because people want to see title matches rather than just regular matches and then warm up for a pay-per-view. I think that's what it is. Do I think that that's the way that they should go? I don't think so. But, let's talk about Jean-Paul, about one of your best, your guys. No, it's not one of your guys. I mean, we love him, but he has his moments, and that's Phil Brooks, is CM Punk. So they ask him about his thoughts on the Raw Underground. And, we're going to go with the magic. It's just half magic because, we don't have the rights for the whole picture. But, like, they ask him about the concept of Raw Underground, and this is what he says, Jean-Paul. Absolutely love the concept. I want to see Nia Jax in it. I should take more women there. Let's allow us, like, allow them to break their bodies. 3 hours of unsanctioned matches and strippers. That's all I want to see.
I think he was being a little bit sarcastic there. I mean, it's CM Punk. Nobody knows really how to take him. Again, it's on the internet. You can't really tell someone's tone and emotion and this and that. But I mean, I agree in the sense, like, let Nia Jax go down there. She was pushing officials, this and that. Let her even fight some men, beat them up, and then maybe a man can beat her up. Again, the intergender thing. Maybe we'll touch on that topic next. We keep teasing it, but I mean, they don't really have a role for her, so put her down there. And like we said, Ruby Riott wants to go there. Liv Morgan. Linda
Lamb is watching, so thank you so much, Linda, for watching. I really, really appreciate your support. And Mr. Libel says, don't mean to change topic, but did you mention Warhorse from last week? And did he remind you of a bogus Ultimate Warrior? Everybody thought it was the Ultimate Warrior. Did you think that, Jean-Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I actually liked, the look. Because again, it reminded you of that, and it reminds you of like, oh, when wrestling was, kind of legit. And then, but he was a pretty good wrestler. But again, he's same thing. Eddie Kingston, all these guys, they're brought in, and it's like, okay, are you gonna win? No. So why do I get excited for the match?
Yeah, I mean, like the match was good, and I didn't know that he was that popular in the indie scene because you know we're gonna call like our Godfather, we're gonna call Cha-Cha Charlie out because I thought that he was the one that was gonna come out. I really thought it was him. I really thought that like it was Cha-Cha's time, but like Workhorse and everybody, like I want to shout out also Stephen Logan because he's the one that said Workhorse is really good, and I'm like, as a wrestler, yeah, I mean he does have the look of the Ultimate Warrior, unfortunately, and the Ultimate Warrior for me doesn't do much because he was never such a legit wrestler, so to say. But I really think that he put on a good show. But like you're saying, like they're all brought in to just lose. So like, with the magic of TV, boom. Yes. So I mean, see right there, like the whole thing is actually like kind of like the Warriors, the Road Warriors, and like the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. So like it's almost like and like Ascension too, almost like weird, like all of them.
But it was a good match though. The guy did it, and I like that he has like the rocker kind of vibe. I really, but like you said, if they will pull the swerve, that will be legit because see those guys can be there, have their contract, and then start something different. So that would be. I would really love that, But I don't know what like Cody like things in mind. I mean, is like, hey, we'll give you exposure, and then you can just leave. I think.
I mean, hey, like I said, people, there's lots of people report when Dusty was booking, he booked, him to go over everybody. Maybe Cody's doing the same thing. Who knows? Maybe the apple don't fall too far from the tree.
That's right. And that's a great phrase that Jean Paul is using, but it is true. But like like don't forget family. Like we said, like we're gonna talk a little bit more about Raw Underground because Mr. Live is saying. But before that, he's saying about Renee Young's involvement. But if you guys want to see Jean Paul ranting about Raw Underground, no, he wasn't ranting. He was actually having a good time. His thoughts. Let's go with like. Don't forget to watch the review on the YouTube channel under the original Raw break. We have all the meat and potatoes, like Jean Paul says. We have this great title, Raw for All. Dude, does it remind you of a Raw for All there, Jean Paul?
Yeah, a little bit in the sense that it's just, we saw guys like Eric, you saw Bobby Lashley. Now he's a legit fighter, but like MVP, you just saw they took these wrestlers and were just like, oh, now you got to fight. And maybe some of them legit know how to fight, but the one thing is now it's all working punches and they're not actually fighting like in the Brawl for All. So it does remind me of it, but it's like the dumbed down, PG version.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't really like it, like, like Brawl for All, but, like, I mean, if they keep it, like kind of like the Fight Club, like that. Yeah. But, see, Mr. Live is saying, Underground was cool, he likes the idea, but why is Renee Young getting involved? Because they don't have anything else for her, because backstage is pretty much done. And the value in her is because, they just don't want, what is the value in Renee Young? Let's talk about this, Jean Paul. It's Jon Moxley. That's the value. It's like they don't want her to go to AEW. Because she could easily be the next Charlie Caruso and go and work for ESPN, for Fox, for Fox or FS1 or whatever you want to call it. Even she could go in Telemundo and just do like news, whatever, things like that. So I think that's why they will not let her go, just because it's like, oh, they used to be with us, so we're not gonna let him go because they can play like a better storyline right there. So that's what I mean. I think that's the value in Renee Young. I mean, does she know about wrestling? Yeah. But when she was like the one in the booth, like talking about the matches, like the commentator, it wasn't a good job.
Oh no! And see, the thing is, she's also been there for so long. She's nowhere near like a Howard Finkel or Mean Gene or something, but she's a very familiar face because she's been there for so long. So why wouldn't you want to keep her instead of like if it's like her or Sarah Schreiber, like who are you gonna pick? But I wish Renee would be on a show, whether it is NXT or Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. I wish she was like, oh, I do all the interview segments.
Exactly. So, and Mr. Level is saying, bring back Bargun or Underground. See, that was really good. Yeah. I watched the episode of Dark Side of the Ring. He was a good wrestler. Yeah. I mean, he was a good boxer, but unfortunately, Butterbean and done because he injured, what was it, Dr. Death? I think. Dr. Death, Stevie Williams, and that's why he done. He said,
So Vince was like, take him out. Butterbean's like, you got it. And done.
Yep, very sure. Done. Pretty much done. I mean, I think that, like, hopefully they know what to do when it comes to the Raw Underground. I mean, WWE is trying. We got to give them that. But they know because despite how much we complain about AEW, John Paul, they know that like there's a little bit of fear right there, and a tinier fear is Impact, because there's a lot of people, thanks to what happened in Slammiversary, these 2-3 weeks of like after Slammiversary, a lot of people are getting behind Impact. I mean, a lot of people.
Yeah, and they signed all these guys again. People are like, oh, the WWE rejects, and it's like, no, these guys they're not the rejects because they're not guys that are in their 40s and 50s. These are guys that are in the prime of their careers, but they were just sitting on the bench because WWE literally signed up everybody in sight.
Yeah.
Now these guys are able to go to Impact, prove themselves. The Talking Shop Mania got a lot of news, got a lot of buzz. They came out last week. So, for Impact, or had a lot of Impact stars on it. And, it's bringing a lot of eyes to the product. Like you said, the women's division, I would say, is the best next to NXT. They're better than AEW, and they're being presented better than Raw and SmackDown. I would say Bayley and Sasha's legit, but, like, Asuka's there too, but everything else is just, it's kind of bullshit.
AEW, Jean-Paul, in the spirit of AEW, because, Jean-Paul loves AEW now, but we're going to talk about, very briefly, we're just talk about, like, you said, like, hey, the women's tournament, the tag team tournament begun, so we're going to talk about a little bit about this. Medusa, she was brought in to kind of introduce the tag team championships. Medusa, or like Alundra Blaze, for the ones that like to say Alundra Blaze. But like they have 2 matches. They have the Nightmare Sisters, Ali and our girl Brandi Rhodes, and I'm just bringing Brandi because we're gonna talk about a little bit of Brandi in a little bit. And they brought them, so like they had a match and they actually qualified. They eliminated like 2 local girls, I think it was. So like they actually won, so they advanced to the next round.
2 local girls deserve to be in the tournament.
I think that's what it was. And like they had like. They had a decent match, but pretty much.
Well, let me be honest with you. You could be right because I don't know because I didn't see it because in a tournament like this should be put on your main television show.
Flagship show, and they don't do it. I'm not gonna tell you like you need to watch, but it's true though. I would like that like they will not do this, but if I'm not doing anything, thank you so very much. That is everybody that is watching. But see, Tom Libel says Renee Young is underground is like Michael Cole in the ring, totally useless. Tommy Gunn Libel against Marco standing underground.
That would be legit.
Yeah, that would be legit. So
I'd watch it.
That's what they did. So there you go. See, so they had this match, and also like the debut of remember Tainara Conti? Remember she was she was signed on AEW, and she's actually paired with Anna Jay. Remember Anna Jay? She was also from. She debuted in AEW, and then she joined with the Dark Order. So like that's how like they have a match. So see,
Jim Ross, he touches his slobber knocker every time she comes out.
Well, like both of them are absolutely beautiful, and they beat Jumbo. They beat Nyla Rose and Ariane. So there you go.
So let's bring in the WWE reject, and then let's bring in the legend Vicky Guerrero. And then pair them with Nyla Rose, and they lose.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. I don't understand.
Hey, I don't understand. That's why they put the women's division behind a paywall, so you have to pay to see garbage. And then Brandi Rhodes deactivates her Twitter because fans are mean to her. So.
Well, there you go. Brandi Rhodes, like, okay, Jean-Paul, tell me a little bit about this. You're the one that like is presenting this story. Thanks to like the help of Road Break Productions. So tell me, like, Brandi Rhodes deletes her Twitter account. What's the situation here?
I don't really know what the reasons why, but I guess people said it's because something with the women's division. Now, is like a subscription service or something to see it? Like a lot of the matches aren't going to take place on the show. They're going to take place behind this service or something, or they just proposed this idea, or there was something, and then fans were like, why are you just bullshit? Just put it on fucking TV. And then she cried, oh, Cody, they're being mean to me, and she deactivated her Twitter, and here we are.
Yeah, like, what do you think about that? Like, wrestlers deleting the...
Well, what did I say earlier with the Sammy Guevara getting the chair thrown when he threw the chair at Matt Hardy, and then everybody's like, oh, Sammy, you're an asshole, and he has heat again. The whole AEW roster is too sensitive. They're all little babies.
Remember also, like Joey Janela deleted his Twitter because he got a botch.
Yeah, because he's in worse shape than me.
But like, I'm just saying, like, what do you think about all these wrestlers, like, kind of like deleting their accounts?
Well, like, I don't want to sound like, whatever, like because I'm not that old, but like the old school guys always say, and I agree with them. It's like a lot of these guys, they don't have tough skin. Like, they're not really wrestlers. They're just, they're people who can do gymnastics, and they go out there and they're like, oh, look at me, I do this spot, but they're not tough. And now you shouldn't have to be tough. You shouldn't have to deal with hate. But if you do something stupid, like putting your women's division behind a paywall when your women's division isn't even that good, expect somebody to say something to you.
Well, yeah, it is the truth. And I see Mr. Libel is saying, Mr. Libel is saying, glad you brought up the Dark Order. How can you promote the Dark Order to be a badass faction and then make them totally trash? Once again, Brody Lee is misused. How we not say that, Jean-Paul?
Oh, yeah, we've touched on that many times. That's, Brody Lee, they're trying to do something, but I mean, hey, they already dropped the ball on that.
Oh, yeah, like, we've said this so many times. It's like the guy could have been so legit. Like, oh, and this is something that, like, remember we said this in the NXT review, and I want Libel to comment on it. Santos Escobar, the way that he's being portrayed, isn't that, like, the greatest way that you can portray a guy? Shouldn't that how, like, Brody Lee should have been portrayed?
Exactly.
Portray
him in a legit manner that he is a legit boss. Like, people legit are like, oh, I'm gonna do what this guy say. I respect him. Not somebody who yells at you when you sneeze and who's like, just not intimidating or threatening at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And Brody Lee, like the Dark Order could have been even as better as Retribution.
And also, tell me, do you think he should have changed his look? Like, he still looks, to me, when I see him, it's like they're like, oh my god, it's Brody Lee, and I'm like, no, it's Luke Harper in a suit. Like, couldn't he have cut his hair and shaved the beard?
Shave, because it's like, if you're gonna do something different, you gotta look different.
Yeah, he looked like Brody Lee. I mean, what's his name? Luke Harper in a suit, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, man.
Like, what am I supposed to pop for this? Like.
And now that's what I mean. No? And going out to the actual information from Brandi, it says that like Rhodes was previously answering fans who are criticizing AEW heels. These fans are coming down on AEW use of women's wrestling while questioning why AEW heels exist. Rhodes was trying to state that AEW heels was a platform for female fans and not for fans of women wrestling. So this could have been the cause of the Twitter exit, but the message were coming in pretty heated at Brandi Rhodes over the new AEW Heels project. We'll have to see what Brandi reactivates this, but like you said, probably she got mad, she got a little bit upset about the situation, so that's what happened. But see, Tom Libel is saying, once again, remove the mask, his gimmick turned legit. While they're talking about Santos Escobar. Mm-hmm. Santos Escobar, like you said, and I said this in the NXT review, this guy is probably the best Hispanic gimmick that they ever had. Absolutely, even better than Eddie, because Eddie's kind of like started as comical, mamacita, and I gotta talk Spanish so people pop, all of that stuff. But like now, Santos Escobar, he talks it like you said, only to the other two. It's kind of like, hey, I only talk to you so you guys know what I'm saying, like nobody else. Mm-hmm. But then his English is absolutely fine, and he's like the biggest pimp. He's the Narco guy. I love it. I can wait for his appearance on Narcos.
Yeah, and I just love how they keep the same gimmick. People can just be walking in the parking lot, and that van comes out of nowhere, and they fly out of the van and start beating the shit out of you, throw you in the van, and pull off like immediately, and you're like, what?
Oh yeah, no,
it's so legit.
And if you go to South America, that's what happens. You're walking, and out of nowhere a car comes. And they drop, and I will be like, oh, legit, it's like Santos, it's like Gato del Fantasma. No, it's like we're a group of like a kidnappers, so better you give us everything and then done. So that's what's gonna happen, but that's the stuff. But like Tom Libel is saying, Brody Lee is a shame. It's a shame because you had like the Dark Order could have been better than Retribution, could have been like Aces and Eights.
No, the Dark Order should have been like I'll compare them. They should have been like the Ministry. They should have taken out the Young Bucks, like done. They should have taken out Kenny and Hangman, done. They should have taken out literally like all the Elite, and then eventually like the Elite are like, oh, what do we do? And if you want to include Matt Hardy, then have Matt Hardy join the Elite, and then he can use his supernatural powers to combat the supernatural powers of the Dark Order, and then that's how the faces win in the end. But you don't have Brody Lee debut and then lose to Moxley, and it's like, oh, now nobody gives a shit.
And that's what I mean, Jean-Paul. That's what I absolutely mean. It's like, come on. It's like, this guy, you have so much like things to do with this group. You could do so much, and then you just
like imagine if the Ministry was all legit, and then Undertaker first ate a stunner and done.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know,
I guess it's legit.
I just don't understand that, Jean Paul. So now let's talk about a little bit.
We keep teasing the intergender wrestling. Should we talk about that? Lance Storm's comments and everybody else.
Yes, Lance Storm's comments. He had a few he got a Twitter war. I don't want to say I don't want to a war, but they were going messages back and forth talking about the need for intergender wrestling. Do we really need that, Jean Paul?
This is my thoughts on it because we proposed the question and I can sum it up perfectly. If the story calls for it, yes. Do you need to make, Tessa Blanchard your world champ and have her go against Brian Cage, Sami Callihan, all these guys? No, you're just doing that for the ratings. But in a story where you got Mia Yim and Keith Lee when they were feuding with the Garganos, when we would have saw Mia Yim beating up Gargano, if we would have saw him suplex her or maybe super kick her, it's hey, they're the heels. This, couple is fighting with that couple. It adds more heat to the Garganos, so it makes sense, so I'm fine with it. But just doing it for the pop, to me, is pointless. But if the story's there, then I'm all for it.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you. You needed these things. To me, you pop people with this.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Exactly.
Remember when, 2 Rumbles ago, Randy Orton did the RKO
on Nia Jax? Yeah. Well, she ate 3 finishers. She might have even ate a 619 or something. She had she took 3 or 4 finishers and then done.
She got a super kick also. So yeah, look, why not? If the story calls for it, like you said, is do it, and people pop for it. I don't understand. I mean, and if the girl is willing to do it,
I think it's because it's shocking. That's why, when there's videos of car accidents or awful things, people jumping off buildings, they get so many views because people love seeing things that are shocking. And if you see somebody like Keith Lee, spirit bombing Candice LeRae through a table, everybody's gonna want to see that.
Oh, well, absolutely, yeah, no, and absolutely, and you're right. Let me amplify the story a little bit, but let's end with Santos Escobar with the comment that Tom Libel said. So let's go with the magic of TV. Boop! Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, see, that's legit. Look, that's how it should be.
Yep, there's Juan in the middle, Jean Paul, and then Ryan.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know how you guys got my tones, my skin tone really quick, but yeah, and actually, I'm actually as tall as you, Jean Paul, but legit. But see what Mr. Libel is saying.
You're wearing risers like Adam Cole.
That's legit. Yeah, that's legit. Escobar reminds me of what Del Rio and Andrade were supposed to be. A mix of both. So absolutely right.
We said they dropped the ball with Andrade.
Yeah. And you see, and also he agrees with you, Jean Paul. He says, I agree with Mr. Leek. Intergender is only needed if it makes sense.
Yeah. Like I said, what would you see a Monday Night Raw of you have Ruby Riott in the ring and she's oh, it's legit, and then Drew McIntyre just Claymore'd her. Okay, that would be so bullshit. But if the story's there, then it adds heat.
If you think about it, Jean Paul, what made the Attitude Era also legit? Remember when Baba would put Mae Young, when he would put Trish?
This is what I've said about the Attitude Era. If you go back and you watch it from the screw job until when Stone Cold and The Rock, they had their match at Mania, what was it, 19?
Yeah.
If you go back and you watch all that, there's not very many good matches. Towards the tail end, yeah. But there's not many good matches. There's just very good moments.
Mm-hmm.
So the Attitude Era is just all good moments. That's why it was so popular.
Now, right, Jean Paul, don't you think that you pop for that? See, we all think that.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, 1, I hate the bitch, so I loved it for that, and 2, when she ate when it was just legit. Because it's you didn't think they were going to do it. I'm how is she going to get out of this ring? Yeah. And then they're just oh, this is how. Boom, boom, boom. I think it was you said, super kick. I feel like Ray hit a 619.
No, it was a 619 super kick RKO.
Yeah.
Yeah. So dude, look, here what Libel says. Escobar should recruit Andrade and make a legit and new narco faction. 5-man faction and take over NXT. There you go. Do that,
Well, we said 5-man, so would Angel Garza too?
Get guys or get Mysterio, dude. Get another Mexican, dude. Get somebody right
now. Mysterio said he can't be heel. He would be so bullshit in that faction.
Get another Mexican right there, Get whoever,
You know who would be legit turn heel? If he got Well, I mean, if you got the cousins, if Andrade stayed with Zelina, but you got Garza and Humberto,
there you go. See, then get all of them, and that will be extremely great. Yeah, I really love that idea. So now, Jean-Paul, let's go to the report brought by Roadbreak Productions. So the Speaking Out movement sought to create a safe space for pro wrestling. Plenty of people were called out of their past transgressions, and some lost jobs in the industry. Lance Storm thinks that like the Speaking Out movement should also put an end to intergender wrestling. Storm was quite serious when he tweeted out his opinion on the matter. He stated that intergender matches have to stop. This especially in the light of the Speaking Out movement. And he quotes, I see some discussion on intergender wrestling matches again. In the light of the Speaking Out movement, I think these matches have to stop. I've heard from so many women who were uncomfortable doing this, but felt obligated to get booked because these matches were accepted norms. So, Ethan Page, the guy from North, he said, I don't know if I can say if I'm working with a wrestler X because he sucks. These women can also say I don't enjoy intergender, not to start a large debate, but banishing all intergender seems like a step in the wrong direction. Doing intergender right is the proper step, I think. And yeah. I think what do you think about that?
I agree 100%. Lance Storm, Lance Storm he's in his mindset, he's thinking, he's one of the people where it's like, oh, one person used a gun and shot somebody, so we should ban all guns. Which isn't the right choice because, yeah, I'm sure there's a time for like a small town, shithole indie, company was like, oh, let's do intergender wrestling, and that's because the guy just wanted to touch on the girl's crotch when he had her up in a suplex. But if you go to a legit, like WWE, NXT, AEW, Impact, they're going to be legit stories. Hey, you work together, you talk to the people, you make sure they're comfortable with it, and if everybody's good, then you do it. So I don't think you should really ban it. It should be, hey, be honest. Is everybody comfortable? And if people, if it's like, oh, well, if you don't agree to this match, we're going to, fire you or cut your pay, then you just go out and report that to Dave Meltzer, and then it'll be all over.
Oh, yeah. No, and I agree. But see, I feel that, like, for example, I'm going to say hi and, kind of say hi and a little bit of comfort to our beautiful girl. She's our godmother, and you know who I'm talking about, Jean-Paul? That's Lexi Gomez. So, her mom's funeral was yesterday. So, all the love and support for you, Lexi. We love you. Our boy, the Legend Killer, is watching. So, Ryan Whitman, there you go. Hey, babe, how you doing? Mr. Legend Killer. So, she said, remember in the interview, what did she say, Jean-Paul? Because I did ask this. I didn't say in that manner because we didn't know about the Speaking Out movement. But remember, do you like either wrestle guys? Oh, yeah, I love it. It's like, I enjoy wrestling with guys at all. It's like, that's how you learn. It's like, when you're training, you wrestle guys every single day.
Yeah, and like she said, she's, was tough, more powerful moves, and she's like, you can really beat the shit out of them and they can take it.
Oh, yeah, like that. And that's what I mean. Like, she was, like, really, really into it. So, I don't know. I don't know what, like, you would.
Like I said, Lance Storm, I think he's just being like, oh, well, it happens once. Let's just get rid of all of it so it never happens again. But it's like, that really won't work. You gotta just...
Yeah, like you said, I don't really know if that would be the right... I mean, to me, is legit. So, I really feel that it is important to do it. So, I don't see why wouldn't you,
Exactly.
So let's go two more stories and then we can leave. And the next story is the one that, like, you love it because I know the kind of person you are. And we're going to be talking about your guy. We're going to talk about Jim Lucius Cornette. But before that...
are we... What about the Marty Lucius?
No, Lucius is at the end,
Okay, legit.
But, like, Tom Libel is saying have Dominic turn heel. And that will be good. Yeah,
I've been saying that forever. That needs to be the match at Mania, Tom. Mysterio versus Dominic. Dominic as a heel.
Mijo, here's the mask. And but before that, Jean-Paul, let's talk about your boy because, like, for some reason, Jean-Paul extremely loves Jim Cornette, and that's fine,
Yep.
We love Jean-Paul, we love Jim Cornette. Everybody's loved by Robert, and we hate it with the same intensity. So, for Mr. Libel, we're going to be talking about Kylie Ray because she got beef with Jim Cornette. So
no, because I love Kylie Ray.
Yep, there you go.
There she is.
There you go. That's Kylie Ray. And, the report says Kylie Ray isn't afraid to start Twitter with Jim Lucius Cornette. Kylie Ray, like, recently tweeted out an animated gif of somebody laughing while crying with a caption reading, me seeing all the wrestlers Jim Cornette used to shit on rise above and constantly succeed time and time again. Jim Cornette replied to Kylie Rae's comment he didn't seem to agree with her, or at least they have different ways of gauging success. There you go.
Yeah, gauging success.
Well, no, it's not gauging. It's just
then they don't. Then it's a spelling error on there. Right?
Yeah. So it says, rise above to what succeed? Sketch comedy, skateboarding, high school theater. Also, what? Who the fuck are you again? More people have bought tickets to watch me take a shit? Mind your manners, chica. Kylie Rae replied to Cornette saying, wow, congratulations, what an achievement. Happy for you, Mr. Cornette. And then one fan said, like, you shouldn't be messing with Jim Cornette. And Kylie Rae said, hi, Josh. No, thank you. I will always stand up for myself. So, Jean-Paul, what do you think on this?
I mean, this is the one thing I will say. Like, I'm fine with Kylie Rae sticking up for herself. She's extremely talented. You know, people say, oh, she's Bayley Light. She's Bayley 2.0. But she's still a legit wrestler. Now she's on Wrestle House, and sometimes I do laugh on the Wrestle House segments. You know, Tommy Dreamer's legit. I love him as the host. But I'm like, I wish it was more serious thing. But, you know, that's another story with, you know, Impact's booking decisions. But for her to be like, why poke the bear? That's my whole thing. Jim Cornette, you know his whole shtick, his money-making thing. I love his mind and his thoughts for the business, but the way that he gets views and makes money is just yelling at people. And he likes yelling at people, and he's good at it.
Yeah.
So why poke the bear? Why not just say, oh, I'm happy for me and my friends who are succeeding and rising above? Why do you have to tag Jim Cornette and poke the bear? Just let him go. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to defend him. I mean, he can say who he wants because everything he's saying is probably true. He probably has earned more money.
You want to see how high she is? Woo! Yeah. And she likes Pikachu.
Yeah.
Pikachu.
Exactly.
So, I mean, no. In all honesty, she shouldn't. I don't think that what's beneficial about starting a feud with Jim Cornette. I mean, maybe a little bit of like, hey, you want to throw your name out there? Do I think that's the right thing to do? I don't think so. But you know, that's what it is. So, Jean-Paul, let's go to the last piece of news that we have, and that's, like you said, like the cream of the crop. You know, we're going to be talking about Mr. Marty Jannetty, because I don't know if intentionally, unintentionally, I don't know what he was trying to do or say, but he confessed murder. So, let's go with the magic of the Raw Break TV.
Let's see it.
The humble camera. There
he is.
Yeah, it's Marty Jannetty, you know, like, yeah, we don't have the rights for the whole picture, like I said. We're, like, trying to save money. You know, economy is bad in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and like we're gonna go with see, the report says this. Well, Marty Jannetty put this on Twitter, so he goes.
Do you have the whole thing? If not, we gotta look it up because you have to read the whole thing. It's so.
No, I have the whole thing. You know,
okay, legit.
Language, you know, it's not me. I'm just quoting somebody, and this is Jannetty. So quote. Let's do the quotation marks. Can you imagine dragging a guy who was trying to fuck you in the ass? Can you imagine dragging him to the river and throwing him, and then you hear this guy's missing? You know they do, and you know more than that. The fucking affected me bad. Bro, I made my mind up. He didn't even do it in the dark. So, like, he's saying that he pretty much disappeared, guy, because he was trying to get weed out from him. Remember?
Yeah. He said I think he said he was actually 13 years old.
Yes.
And he's like, I was working at a bowling alley, so I guess, you know, you could work at 13 in his day, or maybe the drugs got to him, whatever, but there was someone who was homosexual who was working at the bowling alley, and he borrowed weed from him, and he said that this guy was trying to screw him in the ass, so Marty Jannetty made him disappear, quote-unquote. So he said he killed this guy, and by what you said, it sounds like this was broad daylight.
Yeah.
Because he said it wasn't even dark out, or something like that, so...
No, and, you know, Jannetty...
I love what he's like, did you ever make a man disappear?
Yeah.
I'm like, what did, like... You know, 13 years old, I'm not saying a kid can't throw a punch at 13, but, like... And I don't know what this other guy looked like either, but I'm like, really? Like, did you have a knife on you? Like, how did you... You know, it's wild.
I don't know, but, like, it was a story that, like, Rose brought up. Like, I think that, like, the police are going to try to investigate him. But, like, I think Jannetty did that on himself. So...
Oh, that's one of those things where he's so messed up in the head. This could have been, like, a cry for help just for him to get the story out there. So he's like, please just arrest me and throw me in prison so it's just done.
Yeah, like, you know, like, yeah, that's absolutely, like, what I think is happening. Like, I mean,
it's like we're kind of laughing, but I mean, it's a shame, but it's one of those things where it's like people like that, they need to want the help or have the help forced on them because, they otherwise they won't get better. Like
for example, and I'm not trying to be, crappy with Shawn Michaels or anything, but like, isn't that his friend? Shouldn't he be like, like helping him out?
Yeah, and especially, since Shawn Michaels was kind of struggling with the same things, as in like the drug abuse, and then he eventually, he found religion and got out of it. Why wouldn't he try to help Marty? And maybe he has. Maybe Marty was like, "Don't talk to me. You're bullshit. I hate you." And if somebody tells me that, I'll be like, "Okay, dude. See you later."
But that's what I mean. Shouldn't like you be like,
But like I said, mate. But what if he told Shawn off 5 years ago? Then Shawn was like, "Well, screw him."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said to you, I really don't know. I feel that, if you're a friend, you should try to help your friend out.
And that's why he super kicked them through the window, though.
I mean, Jean Paul, if I ever start to do those things, please help me.
Yeah, I will. I'll super kick you through the heartbreak window, or what was it, Piper's Pit?
Yeah. In the rope break, what is it? In the barber shop. Yeah, you're gonna super kick me, and that will be the end. You'll go back to become a great superstar, and I will just be like doing like tag, and that will be it. So that's gonna be the end. So guys, this is all we have for you guys today. We want to say hi to our legend killer Ryan Whitman. He's gonna be with us next time. We have a lot of more content coming up. Don't forget we have our reviews. Don't forget like we have in the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Help us out in the YouTube channel. We need all you guys' help. Just like Jean Paul will say, go to the original Road Break on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, with all the notifications for every single one of you, because we have content every single day of the week. We have all the reviews. We have interviews coming up. It's going to be 2 more weeks of a lot of content. We have with Jean Paul, we're going to be doing Impact with Emergence. We already talked about Impact, and we're really looking forward to that. So also, like in 2 weeks, Legend Killer, myself, Jean Paul, we have NXT Takeover 30 is going to be happening. And also SummerSlam, so it's going to be a big week of a lot of work. So please help us out. We want to be with you guys. Let us be with you. Let us in. Like the
exactly.
So support us in the Facebook page, support us in the Twitter page, support us in the Instagram page, and support us every single time, every single place that we are. But mainly, help us in the YouTube channel. We want to reach to those 1,000. We want to, be able to create the best content for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this, Jean Paul, and I think that we're going to be back with you guys soon. We're going to be doing Raw. So, I'm going to be actually, if you allow me, I'm going to be sharing my...
Oh, I will.
I'm going to be sharing my thoughts of what's going to happen in the second week of Raw Underground. So I want to say thank you to every single one of you that has been watching this video, this live streaming. So, Jean Paul, there's only one more thing that is left to say, right? And that
exactly.
is...